mushroom cloud.
Yeah, well, I went nuclear.
All right. I like it. We're going nuclear. Come on. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Riggle's Picks. I'm Rob Riggle.
I'm Darren Leader.
And with us, as always, we got Gary and Claire, a.k.a. Clary.
A.k.a. AmeriClaire.
AmeriClaire, because she's American. And they're we keep them in the broom closet, like I always say.
That's why they're in the broom closet.
Yep.
When you guys get a little more pizzazz and fire, then you get to come out.
Panache is what we're looking for, guys. Panache.
Let's hear it one more time, Claire and Gary. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
There it is.
Wow.
Another day in the closet.
Yep. That no offense.
Heard it all through high school.
To RFK, but that kind of sounded like RFK doing the fa-fa-fa. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can't offend somebody if you're actually accurate in your description.
That's all. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hey, we've got a lot going on, but before we dive into today's guest, who is fantastic, I absolutely love this guy. I'm excited. But before we do that, I woke up today, no kidding, with a little anxiety.
Why?
And you know, I don't have like anxiety attacks or anything like that, but as I get older, I am becoming more self-aware of like my emotions and like how I'm feeling, and you know,
you're checking in with yourself.
I'm checking in a little more with myself than I ever have before. Right?
Okay, that's good.
I think it's become a necessity and stuff as you go on in life. But what I noticed was I woke up and I was like, I'm a little anxious. I don't know why.
You got the frizzle frazzles.
Maybe it's because I was seeing you or Clary or I don't know. But something kind of set me off. What do you do? Because I know what I did. What do you do to, calm it down and get yourself locked in for a good day? How do you rebound?
All right. Well, sometimes I'll smoke some weed.
Okay.
That's the
even in the morning.
Sometimes.
Okay.
Not often.
Yeah.
If I'm really freaking out, or if there's a thing, a sizzle happening, I'm like, ooh, what is it? I go on a walk.
Walking.
So I walk.
Good.
But I make sure that when I walk, I don't look down. I look up, because when I found that when I walk, this is serious.
I love this. Yeah.
When I walk, and I think when people walk, you tend to look down, or you're looking at your phone. So you got to don't look at your phone
away.
Put your phone away.
Unless you're listening to music. I mean, you can have the phone to listen to music or
but
something.
If you're scroll walking,
no.
That's death.
I'm with you.
I go on a walk. I look up, and I look at, and you see the sky, you see hills, trees, and like it makes you realize, or it makes me realize how small I am when I think I'm everything in my world and my problems are huge. It's like everything. I swear to God, I go on a walk and I look up and I go, oh, it's so small. In the grand scheme of things, whatever I'm tripping on, it just lets me breathe. And I might not even know what I'm tripping on, but it lets me go, oh.
It gives you the perspective to center you again.
That's what I do.
And get grounded and be like, okay, I got to calm down. This is good. We're good. Everything's good.
Because we get caught up here, and you may not even know, but like I go walk and I look up.
Yeah. That's great. I think walking is great. I think that's a great thing to do. Walking and breathing, I think that's a good thing to do.
Or I punch things.
Okay, so that's probably the least option. Gary?
Even better, walking the golf course.
Oh, okay. Well, now, see, that is optimum, but you don't always get that, like, because if you just wake up, you're not going to get a tee time. Golf's so popular. You know what I mean? And it's a process. You can just walk outside your house. And
But in a perfect world.
In a perfect world, I'd walk 18 every single day.
It wouldn't interfere with your game.
No. Oh, the anxiety?
Yeah.
Sometimes, if it's a whole lot, but if I'm on that golf course,
if it's just the morning jitters.
Yeah, if it's nothing like a big thing, but it's just like morning weirdness. Yeah. If I go golf, the brain gets cleared. I smell the grass, the outside, the clean air.
I'm with you. There's something about walking a golf course, the smell of the grass, the smell of the outdoors,
and the smell of victory,
and the weather, and the smell of victory.
You know, that's why I like to play with you a lot.
Why?
Because I win. I beat you.
This is
often.
Obviously, this is a comedy podcast, and we have a lot of fun, and there's a lot of jokes. So for our listeners, I just want them to know that that's That's some of Darren's comedy.
That's not a joke.
That's a total joke. I dominate on the golf course, and I very, very rarely rebate any money to you, my friend.
I feel like that's not accurate.
Well, I guess we're going to have a Riggle's Picks golf-a-thon.
Yes, please.
Dog wants in.
Where we settle this foolishness on the golf course.
I think we have a foursome right here. Claire, Gary, Rob, and Darren.
I have never asked this question. I feel bad, actually. Claire, how's your game?
It's very similar to hockey.
Well, you're Canadian.
You're
that means
Canadian.
You're awesome.
I can golf, but not well.
Okay, so she gets some strokes.
Yeah, so do you.
By my handicap privilege.
Oh, dude, here we go. Here we go. We're going down this road again.
So do you was an attack.
No, it's just,
It was an attack. Thank you.
Some guys are honorable with their handicap, and they're like, yeah, I'm an 8. And so, like, currently I'm a 4, okay?
He's not a 4.
That's the second time he's told me that today.
Exactly.
Rob, and
He's
I'm
a
not
2.
joking. That is not my comedy. He told me that while we were outside.
Well, I'm illustrating a point. If Rob's a 9, and I think we can look it up, I think you're an 8 or a 9.
I'm a 9.6.
Okay, I'm a 4.1.
Rounded up, that's a 10.
Guess again.
By the way, Darren, last recording you were a 3.2.
I
So
know, my
what's been
handicap
going
went
on?
up. My handicap.
He's
failing.
padding the scorecards.
No, I'll tell you what's going on. If this is the real deal. I travel a lot. I play a lot of golf courses I've never played, and I've not seen these golf courses. So when you go play courses you don't know where to miss it. You don't know where to necessarily hit it for optimum results. If I'm playing the same course, my handicap goes down, generally. If I'm playing like rando courses, it's going up. And you know what? Everybody who plays golf out there who's watching and listening is going to be like, Darren's totally right.
Darren's not. No one ever says that.
Yeah, I don't think that's a common.
9.5. I am an honest with integrity. Right there. 9.5.
Single digits, baby.
Stand by.
9.5.
Stand by.
9.5. 9.5.
9.5, right.
9.5.
All right, we're gonna get to. So we need to look up my handicap. Then we need to podcast because why does it have me log in right now?
You don't know what you're doing.
No, I
This is
don't.
good pod, guys.
Oh, I'm a 4.3. So I would be giving you 5 strokes. 5
Per side.
Yes. Your math is crazy, dude. Your math is insane. What is I don't get it. 5 strokes total.
All right.
And we play for pink slips. Let's go. Let's go. Today we got a guest.
We do. I'm actually super excited. Today we have joining us.
Wait,
Okay.
do you think he's brave or do you think he's crazy for the things that he's done?
I think he is both.
Okay.
I think he is both.
I like that.
And and the reason I say this is because I've seen him in a lot of different elements.
Right?
And I think there's elements of both.
I-
Brave, courage, and crazy.
I agree with you. I think he's got a high tolerance for pain and a thirst and lust for entertaining people.
Yes.
And that combination gives us
Johnny Knoxville, everybody.
Johnny Knoxville.
And I'm telling you, he's got a heart as big as the Grand Canyon. I'm telling you, he is just the kindest. He comes to my charity event in Kansas City for many, many years, and he gives of himself.
Mm-hmm.
He gives of himself, and he gives of his time. And when he's present, he's very present. Like when we go visit the kids in the hospital and stuff, he's right there.
I love that.
And I think the world of him. When I was on SNL, he was a guest host, and he was the only person who, handwritten notes, like a true Southern gentleman, like handwritten notes to everybody on the cast, very personalized.
That's so rad.
It wasn't done by his assistant. It was him, and it was personal, and it was lovely.
That's so cool.
He's just a class act. I appreciate this guy. And then, of course, he's crazy because he does the things he does are, just unbelievable.
Think about this.
No.
Guy starts making home videos of himself getting shot in the stomach with a gun, right? Or a beanbag or salt, whatever he's shooting himself with, and wrecking himself. And he goes from that, this crazy path. Now he's hosting Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
It's an amazing story.
Yeah. It's very American story to me because it's a self-made guy. It's a guy who's
Totally.
like, I got a dream, and I'm come heck or high water, I'm going to make it happen.
I'm going to shoot myself
Yeah.
in the stomach until
I'm going to blow stuff up, including myself, and until I climb that mountain.
And he's climbed it.
Yeah. And then, the talent that goes along with it,
Yeah.
to star in your own movies and to produce and to write and create and constantly grow. That's what I appreciate too about him. It feels like he's always growing.
He's growing. It's clear that he knows what people like to watch,
Yeah.
and he provides it.
Yeah.
That's killer.
Yeah.
He's got vision. I can't wait to
And
talk
now he's
to
got
him.
a podcast. He's got a podcast coming out. He had a movie come out last month. He's still hooking and jabbing.
He's a hustler, man.
I love it. I
Dude,
love it.
I want to take a little bit of that. I hope we can learn how to be cooler from Johnny Knoxville. I hope that we can learn how to be like cool. Just cool.
You keep saying we, but you're pointing at me.
No, I just think that you and I could benefit.
Okay, you're emphasizing now. You're emphasizing.
What do you mean?
You're going we, but you're doing this. You're pointing we.
I just want
We could be cooler.
Right, we can.
See, you're telegraphing. That's an obvious.
Can't we?
Gosh, don't please. Can't we?
Can't we? Rob, can't we be cooler? I think we could afford to be a little cooler.
You, sir, could afford to be a little cooler.
I said we. I think we're going to take a lesson in cool by talking to Johnny Knoxville.
I agree with you on that. His podcast is out right now. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
His podcast is out right now. It's called Pretty Sure I Can Fly, which is hilarious.
That sounds right up his alley.
That's perfect name. Perfect name. So anyway, that'll be fun. We'll talk to him about that, and we'll talk to him about this movie, and then we'll
let me
talk
ask
to
you
him
this.
about whatever else he wants to talk
Sorry to interrupt you. How are you feeling in this moment with your anxiety?
about. I'm very blessed. I don't have strong anxiety problems, but I do. This morning, for whatever reason, I woke up a little anxious. And I was like, maybe it's the fact that we're doing some shows today.
Right.
Maybe it's the fact that I'm getting ready to head out of town to do all this work. There's just a lot of things that you're like.
I don't feel settled.
Yeah, in constant motion I just wrapped a movie, and it's like, I have one day to get to kind of get my head right, and now I'm off on the next thing.
I bet you that's what it is.
I'm sure that's what it is.
You've got things coming at you, and you can't chill.
Yeah.
But you know what we do have? Johnny Knoxville coming up.
Yeah, let's talk to Johnny, actually. That'll be awesome.
Let's get it. Did you just call me a sidekick?
Hey, everybody. We got Johnny Knoxville with us today. Darren, please don't screw this up.
I'm going to try not to, but we are in the presence of a cinematic legend.
I told you.
I'm telling you, the provider of entertainment for eyeballs around the globe, and I love it.
Well,
Yes.
Rob, why'd you call him a sidekick? I think that's rude.
It's fucked up, right? I'm a
Trying to
side.
gloss it over.
Look, there's Batman and there's Robin. Okay, you both can't. Have you heard of Batman and Batman?
There's Captain and Tennille.
There's Captain and Tennille.
Am I Tennille?
Thank you.
Hold on.
I don't see a captain hat.
Oh,
on you.
You know what? I'll be your Tennille. Let's go.
Let's go.
Johnny, it's nice to see you.
I'm just kidding. My co-host and friend and partner, not life, but partner,
Okay.
Darren.
I'll take it.
Is with us today. So
Thank you.
Johnny, it has been so long since I've seen you. It's really nice to see you again, man. And you have been you've been up to what you're always up to, entertaining and kicking ass. You've got I want to talk about a bunch of stuff, but you got a new podcast. You just had a movie come out. You seem like you're just doing what you do best, which is entertain and have fun doing it, man.
Well, mostly I'm driving kids around to soccer games, volleyball games, baseball games. That's
You're the
most
Uber.
of what I do.
You're the Uber service now. I've been an Uber service myself. I get it. Very, very
Dad
well.
taxi.
Yeah, dad taxi.
Dad taxi.
Yeah.
It's real.
That's great. What are the kiddos playing right now? What are they into?
Well, my son Rocco is playing baseball, and my daughter played volleyball and soccer this season.
And you're a baseball
basketball.
player. You were a baseball player back in the day. I remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Rocco has a much better arm than I ever had. So it's so fun. It's
love
so
that.
fun going to his games. Not when he pitches. It drives me. I'm the most nervous person there, but I love it.
Are the other parents? I remember when my son was playing Little League ball, we had to go to like meetings to have. We, the parents, had to be coached.
Conduct
Was a big thing because everybody doesn't know how to behave anymore, apparently. Or back in the 70s and 80s when I was growing up, dads just dealt with each other.
That's the way it should be, but they can't seem to get it together.
Yeah.
I do get a little chatty at the ump sometimes during the game, not like 70s style, what I grew up with some of the people. I just let them know.
Do you call him Blue?
A couple of the parents have, a couple of the fathers have talked to me, but so far it's had no effect.
Have you ever gotten ejected from a game?
No.
Okay.
When you talk to him, do you call him Blue? Like, hey, Blue, you missed that. Or, hey, Blue, or do you?
Yeah. Blue is good.
Blue. You don't go personal. You don't learn their name before the game.
Yeah. Well, that maybe for next season, this coming season.
Perfect.
That's amazing.
So Johnny has been such an amazing guy. We were lucky enough. I was lucky enough to do a movie with him way back in the day, early 2000s. But as a result of that, he started coming to the Big Slick in Kansas City. And for years, he came and we would spend time with the kids, and he would even donate not only his time, but his money. He would buy like auction items and stuff.
That's awesome.
So I'm always grateful to you, Johnny, for doing that. I really appreciate that.
Well, I mean, the Children's Mercy Hospital is amazing, and all the work that you and Paul and everyone does is, I don't know, I'm blown away by it. So it's my pleasure.
Well, we are indebted to you for sure. So tell us about this new podcast you got. It's called Pretty Sure I Can Fly, which is a great name, by the way. Love that name.
Thank you.
For this podcast. Pretty Sure I Can Fly. And you have a co-host, right? Not a sidekick, but a co-host.
Yeah, the much more talented co-host, Elna Baker. See how I build my co-host up, Rob?
I'm doing that. I was trying. I stumbled with the sidekick
I
thing.
appreciate what Johnny does
Yeah.
because I feel like he's got a handle on what's appropriate, what makes people feel good,
Yeah.
and other people may not have such a good handle on that.
You're pointing at me.
I built people up. I
Thank
just
you.
built people up.
Take a cue.
Okay. I'll do my best. So tell us about it. It's on the Smartless Media Network, right?
Yes. I took the title from a Guy Clark song called "The Cape." So it's one of his lines, and we interview people either from today or tell a story about someone from history who's achieved something great against all odds, while everyone is telling them they're absolutely out of their minds. And I'm a big history buff, so
Me too.
It's so fun. It's a lot of work, man, because I don't like to be underprepared, and I over-prepare because I have a little bit of OCD, and it just takes up a lot of time. But I love it. We get to talk to some fascinating people too.
I'm sure. Do you take on? You've got to be taking on like Teddy Roosevelt or someone like that, because to me, his life is one of the most completely lived lives I've ever heard of.
Yeah, he was rather a tough young man. He gets shot during the speech,
and then finish it.
Completes his speech.
And he was a weakling when he was born. Like he was like a milquetoast kind of weakling, and his dad basically pulled him aside and said, "Life's tough. You either get tougher or you're gonna get your ass kicked for the rest of your life." And he just overcame his own asthma. He overcame he just said, he started training. This is back in the 1860s and 70s. And he was like,
nuts.
But you just solved your own problems back then, I guess.
Yeah. He almost overcompensated, but to a fascinating level, inspiring level. He would be good. We just did a thing. Have you ever heard of Colonel John Stapp?
Stapp? No.
He was a medical doctor, biophysicist, flight surgeon, and he led some of the groundbreaking experiments on deceleration. And he was he's brilliant, one of the most brilliant men of the 20th century or any century, and he looked like an allergist. But at one time, he was known as the fastest man on earth because he would conduct the experiments on himself and attach himself to either this 1,500-foot long rocket sled or 3,000-foot long rocket sled, depending on which air base he was at. But he was doing tests on what happens to pilots when they bail out at high altitude. So he would get it going up to 500-600 miles an hour and then bring it to a stop within several feet.
Ugh.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Your eyeballs would shoot out of your head, I would think.
Well, that was a problem because they thought that humans could only withstand 18 Gs of,
Yeah, gravity.
and he saw all the flight records. He goes, I think they can withstand a lot more than that. And he experienced on one of his sled runs 46.2 Gs.
Jeez.
I think your bones
And-
would snap. Wouldn't your limbs rip off?
He did break wrists and anything that he learned to keep everything in and
Yeah.
really tied down.
Yeah.
But on a couple of his sled runs, he did experience momentary blindness.
Oh my God.
And before his last sled run, which he went over 600 miles an hour, the night before for the nights before, he would practice going around his house, cooking and cleaning and doing whatever he needed to with his eyes closed because he thought he might be blind.
So
He was preparing to be blind.
He was preparing. That's how committed this man was.
I was about to say, that is an unheard of level of dedication to your work.
Yes.
To accept I might go blind tomorrow, so here I'm going to start prepping for that. What?
all of this is leading me to think that there's a correlation between Colonel Stapp and you, because in the early part of your career, if I'm not mistaken, you wanted to do things that were entertaining, whether it was shot with a rock salt, those types of things. I remember watching those things, when they were sort of underground. I remember my friends were sharing, going, dude, you got to see this guy. And, you're doing things like that with no real, you weren't sure of the result or what it was going to be. So that similarity is there, like that
Dedication.
sense of like, yeah,
you're willing to
for it.
take the injuries.
Well, I did work a lot with gravity and Newton's third law of motion in my scientific experiments. Although I was not collecting data, I was just a dumbass. Stapp was saving lives, and he's the reason we have seat belts in cars. I don't get me started on Stapp, but he's amazing, and he wrote these really odd poems and epigrams, and just he would sell them at the car crash conferences. But yeah, so it's fun learning about all these people.
I love this. I'm excited to listen to this because I am a history buff as well, and I always appreciate learning about the incredible work of other people, especially groundbreaking work like you're describing with this Colonel Stapp. That sounds absolutely amazing. And I can actually verify Johnny's commitment to the work that he did, because when we were on SNL in the cold open, Johnny walked around and everybody was welcoming him to the show or whatever, and then they would smash a vase over his head, or they would run into him with a golf cart, or they would do something. And my bit was to come up from behind and go between his legs up and grab him by like the belt buckle, but basically grab him and lift him up by his balls.
The hook and ladder.
The hook and ladder.
God.
And lift him up off the ground and slam him down. And I was big at the time, or bigger at the time, so I kind of had the leverage. I could do it, right? More than some of the other cast members. So Johnny, on the first try, I'm timid. I'm like, I don't know if I should, how hard, and I don't want to rack the guest, the host. And I that might have been the first time Johnny and I had met, really. So I'm like, oh God, the last thing I want to do is break his balls. So I come in a little soft, and Johnny wasn't having it. He was not having it. He goes, stop. He goes, if you don't come hard, you're going to hurt me. It's the timid. Don't be timid.
Right.
You have to
I
come.
remember saying if you don't come hard.
That sounds like a different show, and that's cool.
He said, but you got to remember this because he goes, you got to grab me and throw me. You got to lift me.
You got to mean it.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. So, I did it his way, and it actually worked better than when I tried to,
Wow.
do it softer or whatever. So anyway.
Well, you just want to do it once. You don't want to do it half-assed 3 or 4 times. Just smoke me once, and we got it.
Yeah.
And,
When you do that, are you wearing a cup or are you just commando?
No, for Rob, he asked that I go commando. So
Yeah,
I said, okay.
he always does.
I don't
He's like, the
remember.
last thing I wanted to do was, hurt Johnny's nuts. But the first thing I had to do was grab his nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't make an omelet without breaking the nuts.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the actual saying, but
I think it is.
I think it's close. I think it's close.
it's close.
Yeah.
It might be close. I'm not 100%
it.
sure.
get
You
it.
just made a movie called Sweet Dreams. How was that?
Great. It was, it was about a father trying to get his life back after, he got thrown into rehab and trying to get his daughter back, and worked with a lot of, oddly enough, a lot of great comedians. It was a very heartfelt story, but it was just the set was loaded with comedians. So every time they would say cut, it was just constant chattering.
Yeah. I love that, actually. I actually love that. That's, but it was more of a drama piece too, huh?
Yeah, it was a dramatic piece.
Yeah.
So I think I did as good as I could, and that's all I can say.
By the way, I saw a clip of you the other day. I follow you on a lot of your socials or whatever, but I saw a clip of you as Danny Zuko back in high school. And it was great. I was proud of you. He was singing Grease Lightning.
Really?
And it was good. I was like, hey, that's not bad.
Come on.
I thought it was, I'm being honest, I thought it was pretty good.
Oh, you are a sweetheart, because I was out of time, off key, can't dance a lick. All my T-birds were completely stoned, and it was so fun.
Gary, can we get a clip of that, Gary?
See how good I am.
I thought I appreciated it. It was a high school production of Grease. He's playing Danny Zuko. He's doing "Go Grease Lightning, it's burning up the quarter mile. Grease Lightning, go!"
Yeah.
And the crowd is with you. The crowd was like, you could hear it was a bunch of ladies, and they were like, "Woo!" So.
You can sing, actually, right? Because you seem to be on key right there.
He can sing.
I cannot.
He can sing.
I cannot.
You can sing.
I cannot.
Just
You're being you're fishing for compliments, aren't you?
I mean,
come on. You
what-
can sing.
Oh.
Wow, that was a strong performance.
I don't know. It was just, no big deal. Just kicking it.
Can you sing now?
Can I sing now?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I could never sing at all. And
She got written down in the sand. We laid out on the
What made you go out for a musical?
I loved musicals. I was all confidence, no talent. And
Love that. That's a good combination.
Best
sometimes.
kind.
Best kind of combination, I think.
yeah.
Did you always? So apparently, you always wanted to entertain or act. Was it acting that you kind of loved?
That's what I wanted to do since I was like 14 or 15, because you're getting close to getting out of high school. Like, what are you going to do? And I didn't want to do anything, right? That
Right.
like had to do with manual labor.
Yeah.
And so I just, as a family, we just sat around and watched old movies and TV shows while we ate dinner and, any time. So I'm like, well, maybe I'll give that a shot. So.
Yeah, I think it's in your blood. I think it's in for people that choose a life in the arts, whatever that may be, whether it's music or whether it's acting or whatever. I think they kind of about that time frame is when they first the fire starts to get lit a little bit. About 15, they start going, could I do this? Maybe I could do this.
My father should have done that because he had the biggest personality and just took over any room. It was hilarious. He was constantly pranking his friends and employees, and I felt that's what he wanted to do, but just had no clue how to do it, being from Knoxville. And I think he'd have been happier had he done that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
What did he do?
He owned a tire company.
Wow.
And he had the business, but it was really just to fuck with his employees.
That was his business.
Yeah.
Is that where some of your inspiration came from, like to kind of be the ringleader,
I just always looked up to him, I mean, he would make his employees X-Lax milkshakes.
Oh, my God.
Send them letters from the VD clinic saying they have to come in and list their last 10 partners, signed Dr. Harlan C. Titmore. He sent some of his friends letters from the IRS, and then I think the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation came to visit him about that.
This is where it comes from.
This is so where it comes
awesome.
from. But you know what, though, for someone like that, the bug was in him. Like he wanted to laugh, he wanted to entertain, he wanted to have fun. Yeah. Like you're right, he probably should have been an entertainer. He should have been an entertainer. I think Jim Carrey is the same way. Jim Carrey always said his dad would have been one of the great comedians of all time if he would have just gone for it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I've heard Seinfeld say something similar, right? I think his father was funny too,
I think it was a different time for men in that, our fathers, it wasn't really on the table. It was like, you got to get a job, you got to provide, you got to do this, you got to raise your family, you got to, and so that was what they did. They didn't get to dream. They didn't get to go for it. We were probably the first generation that got to have a dream and then say, well, maybe I can go for it.
Yeah. There was a lot of opportunity, a lot more than when they were coming up.
Yeah.
So, Johnny, when you finished the Grease musical and got your award for the best vocalist,
the Choral Award,
and you wanted, you were thinking about becoming an actor. What did you do to try to make that happen? Did you try to go get an agent? Did you try to go get commercials? What was the first thing you actually tried to go do?
I auditioned for the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. I drove down to Atlanta, gave a terrible audition. Apparently they were taking anyone that year. And they let me in, and so I went there for the summer program in Pasadena, California. I stayed out for the summer, went 2 weeks, and then I was like, hot damn, I'm in Los Angeles, and forgot about what I was trying to do and just partied. Then went back home, worked in a restaurant that winter, came back out January 90, and have been out ever since. And really spun my wheels the first 5-6 years out here. I was taking classes and auditioning a little, but there was no drive behind what I was trying to do until my then girlfriend got pregnant and I had a daughter on the way. And I was like, oh shit, I'm terrified. Mm. I was literally terrified. So I did everything I possibly could. I was living next to Antoine Fuqua at the time in the same duplex. And he introduced me to a casting director who ended up getting me a commercial agent. My friend John Linson got me a gig writing for this few magazines, and I had the idea to test self-defense equipment on myself, right as my daughter was born, because I'm like, I don't know what else to do.
Amazing though.
It's fascinating to me that that's where your head goes. A daughter's on the way. Let's test self-defense equipment.
But it worked.
Yeah,
it did. Necessity is the mother of invention, right? And so when you're backed against the wall, it's amazing what you come up with, how creative you get, and how hard you work.
I'm telling you, for me, it was like when South Park first came out, it was the little shorts, right? There's those little shorts. And all my friends were like, dude, you got to see this. I remember getting that same thing. dude, you got to see this dude. He's going to taser himself. And all of us would be like, no fucking way. But seeing where you are now and what you've achieved now, it's completely amazing.
I remember the first time I ever saw you, Johnny. I saw you crash a golf cart. You came launching over the top of a bunker, and when you landed, it went upside down, and I was so scared because I thought they're dead. They died because it folded. Like you should have broke your necks. Like it was awful. And you guys emerged from it, and everybody was high-fiving and laughing. I thought, holy Jesus, these guys. Then I was hooked because I was like, I got to see what you're doing next. I got to see what's going on.
Yeah, the cart almost came over and flipped and landed on my head, which was real close. Luckily for me, I would have broken my neck at least 6 times, but I'm super flexible. So when I was young, I could put both feet behind my head, and that has really saved me because I just accordion like a cartoon.
Yeah.
And otherwise, I would be screwed.
Yeah. Yeah, but I remember I was very captivated. But you did that to the whole nation. You hooked the whole nation.
Yeah, we were all hooked. Do you look back at some of the stuff you did and go, I can't believe I did that? Or do you look back and go, yeah, I did that? What's your feeling?
No, I don't think, oh, I can't believe I did that, or yeah, I did that, because I just became kind of numb to what I was doing. You know, it's like, okay, I did that. I'm going to have to, like, step it forward a little bit, and then it's just then you're, like, way off the rails. And
what I always appreciated about when you were doing the Jackass stuff was your leadership, because you had this crew of wild men who would go out and just, take on all kinds of unbelievable tasks, right? But Johnny was always in the mix. Like, it wasn't like he was some puppet master. He was down there letting the bulls run over him with a blindfold on. Like he was doing it. He was at risk too. So I thought it was good leadership.
I was Jeff Tremaine was the director. He's a coach. I'm a player coach. And I thought by doing the bigger things, I could nudge guys. I'm like, okay, I need you to do this, and it worked because they knew what I was doing, and I respected what they're doing.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. Do you have a favorite moment looking back on and I know you've done a ton of other work. I mean, we've done a movie together that I loved. Obviously, Dukes of Hazzard, and you've had great success.
You were great in the movie we did, but that movie was awful. It was fucking awful. You were great. I can't remember what it was.
It was what was it? Nature's Call. Nature's Call.
I got to work with you, Patton Oswalt, Patrice O'Neill.
Yeah, Patrice.
All great guys. But oh my God, that movie was bad. But you were great.
I enjoyed it just because I got time with you on set. And if you've never been on set with Johnny, it's really fun. Like, he makes it for a fun set, right? It's always entertaining, always fun. We'd be doing a rehearsal or whatever, and, you have to be on guard. I learned the hard way, which is, your nuts are always open for a flick.
Oh, God.
Which I had to learn the hard way. Like two or three shots in, I was like, okay, anytime I was standing on set with him, I literally had to cover my...
The flick?
Yeah, because it was a stinger.
Oh, that's rough.
The flicks can hurt as worse than a hard hit.
Yes.
When you just catch it.
Yeah. It's like the towel whip.
I'm going to say it. I don't think you can nut flick now.
No, probably not.
That's a problem.
We can't have the old-fashioned nut flick?
Yeah, no. I don't think on a movie set you can nut flick without getting called out or in trouble anymore.
Yeah, well, somebody, even if it's a third party, would have a problem with it.
Yeah,
even if the two people
I saw a nut
flick,
and I'm traumatized.
Yeah.
But my point was aside from all that, going to just the Jackass movies, do you have a favorite moment? Does one pop to your mind and go, oh, you know what? This one sticks out for whatever reason? Because I think, just as a fan, I'm curious, and I think a lot of your fans are curious if you have one that's special to you.
I mean, all of it's... I'll give you an answer, but all of it is special because it's something that I created with my friends, and it, for whatever reason, it took off, and I mean, we didn't even think it could be a TV show. We thought it was going to get on TV, and no one's going to watch, and then if we got to do a movie, no one's going to go see them. And we were surprised at every step of the way. And if you spent time with us on the set, you would be amazed that we get any footage at all. You know, it is. I've had this explained to me because I'm like, we do pretty good, and it's just like my girlfriend who's worked on Jackass forever. She just like, I can't believe you guys get any footage. Because Jeff and I are in charge, and Jeff and I are, a little distracted to say the least. But anyway, one of the just when you ask the question, one of the funniest moments, and I wasn't even there for it. I was shooting a bit. It was in Jackass 2. Me, Ryan Dunn, and Bam were standing in front of a Stingmore mine in Arkansas at this place that, had military contracts and eventually got indicted for selling, in a sting, selling weapons to a small African nation that was run by the FBI, I think.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, and they were supposed to make me a cum grenade, and they weren't calling me back anymore. And then I eventually looked them up and they got busted. Anyway,
amazing.
We were there filming.
Yeah.
Jeff and all the guys, they stayed in New Orleans to shoot a few things. One thing they got earlier that day was Steve-O being cast out to sea with a hook through his mouth and fishing for a shark, chumming up the waters, and he was bait for a shark. One almost bit him. That was a good moment. And then one of my favorite moments is sometimes we'll go into a bit with no idea, really. I had an idea where I wanted, how though you see a woman you can throw a guy who can throw a card at something and
and it sticks in there.
Or,
cut it.
I'm like, why get one of those guys and throw him at Wee Man's ass. That was the whole idea. Luckily, the guy who came to do that day brought a stool that would provide shocks to Wee Man, right?
Oh.
And so he would sit on it, and they would throw. He would just act like he would throw, and it would shock him, and Wee Man's like, oh, that hurt. He did it 3 or 4 times, and eventually Wee Man's like, oh, okay, I know what's going on. There's a card throwing machine in here. And just the look on everyone's faces, they were just shocked. They felt terrible for him, yet they were just happy. So you got to watch the bit. I maybe didn't do it justice, but that is one of my favorite moments.
I love it. That's the one that pops to mind. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Hey, man. It's a pleasure to see you again. I miss you. I haven't seen you in a long time, so it's really good to see you. And thanks for spending time with us.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Check out Pretty Sure I Can Fly, the new podcast with Johnny Knoxville and Elna Baker.
That's right.
And also the movie Sweet Dreams that just came out last month. It's available on all digital platforms. So, hey, bud, I hope I get to see you again soon, man.
Yeah, thank you, fellas. Good to see you.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Take care,
All right.
Johnny.
Take care, Johnny.
See you. Bye-bye.
That was nice.
I love that guy.
What? That guy's got balls bigger than everybody I know.
You know me, though.
That guy's got...
Okay. You know what? I'm not even going to try because I know where you're going. I know exactly. I already know.
Where am I going? That was nice, right? We
We had a nice
and then
conversation.
all of a sudden, he's gone.
Yeah. And I said, boy, that was nice. And you said he's got big balls, bigger than anybody I know. And I said, you know me.
Exactly.
And then you went radio silent as if to say, somehow my balls aren't big enough.
They're big enough, but they're not that big.
I kind of have to agree with you
Thanks,
on that.
man.
I mean,
I'm being real.
I know. You're not wrong.
Would you self-test? Would you test self-defense equipment on yourself?
No.
You wouldn't. No. If I said, hey,
doing a cold plunge is like I've considered myself like, okay, I'm
Yeah,
getting it.
you got
I'm
this.
Spartan.
Right. Dude, that guy,
Forget about it.
dude, would you,
That's next level.
okay, just as an example, would you paper cut the inside of your,
No, I saw that.
Right?
That actually made me get up and run out of the theater. I couldn't handle that.
that,
almost.
honestly, and I'm not trying to be graphic, that made my butthole clench.
Yeah, it's
Like,
too much.
It was too much.
It's too much.
And cold plunge is a lot, and I'm not taking anything away from your bravery. The paper cuts on the mouth,
Yeah, come on.
that's tough stuff.
That's tough stuff. That's real.
A hook, being shark bait,
Come on.
dude, right?
I know. Come on.
That's why we watch, because you go, come on.
Yeah, it's too much.
It's
And then you have to see it just out of morbid curiosity. You have to go, well, now I got to see this.
It's like a giant hour-and-a-half long car crash, those movies, and in the best way.
I say God bless Johnny Knoxville.
Me too. If Johnny Knoxville was running for president, would you vote for him?
I would vote for him.
I would too.
I would too.
Yeah.
That's three of us.
JKFP, Johnny Knoxville for president.
And we're done here. And we need somebody in this coming election.
Right?
I go for Knoxville.
Would you vote for me? Maybe
Yes.
don't. Maybe don't. You would?
I would.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
Darren Leader for president?
I would.
Thank you.
You're absolutely welcome.
I think I'd make a great president.
I think you do pretty well.
Yeah.
I think you do pretty well.
I would.
Right up until you got bored with the job.
Well,
And then you'd be like, I'm not answering any more fucking calls.
that's why I'd have a really solidly well thought out cabinet.
Yeah, you'd have to have a super tight cabinet.
I would want you to be on it.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome. You want to be the vice president?
Yeah,
Okay.
done and done.
God, this is awesome.
All right. Get us on the ballot, friends.
Gary,
Oh, you're submitted.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, everybody. This has been Riggle's Picks. Thanks for joining us. I'm Rob Riggle.
I'm Darren Leader.
That's Gary and Claire. Bye, everybody.